Thank you all for coming. Aaron Brown, partner in our cyber risk practice. Actually started our cloud cyber practice around 2012. 2017, co-founded the cloud managed service business that we have. And in the last year, I've had the distinct pleasure to take over the Wiz Alliance. So I have with me Ami Lutwak, CTO and co-founder at Wiz. And prior to that, CTO and co-founder at Adlom, which was acquired by Microsoft in 2015.
Yeah.
Then went on to lead the cloud security business there, driving innovations with Azure Sentinel and Security Center.
Yeah.
And then prior to the commercial world, right, you led R&D at the Israeli Intelligence Corps. So great mixture of technical expertise and entrepreneurial spirit, really a driving force in cloud security. So thanks for being with us.
No, thank you. Great to be here. I mean, like from the Wiz side, we started in 2020, and the first meetings were in the RSA 2020 in February, and we actually only had one meeting because the emergency state was announced, and everything. We said, wait, why did we leave Microsoft? Yeah, it's been a crazy journey in cloud.
Now, I have to ask you, I mean, are you surprised at how quickly Wiz has had success? Or did you always kind of know, we'll be a $30 billion company in 5 years?
No, it's been an unbelievable journey. I mean, cloud security started, and because you've been following the market since it started, right? Like almost like 2014, right? First solutions, right? When we got to this space in 2020, you had like hundreds of cloud security vendors, hundreds. So we never imagined that we'll be able to like change the perception of the market of how to do security in cloud. And the fact that we were able to work with just amazing security teams and really drive a change in how companies approach risk is, that was beyond what we dreamt about.
Right. So what really was sort of the driving vision for the inception to start with?
So the core vision is the understanding that security as we know it is just broken and it doesn't work in the speed of cloud. That's really the problem. It's just like, if you think about when cloud started, you had the IT, and then everyone understood, okay, IT is not relevant. You need DevOps, you need to be agile, you need DevOps to be part of engineering, right? But in security, it didn't happen. Like you still had a lot of centralized teams, centralized processes, very detached from the engineer, right? And what we understood is that it just does not scale. It does not scale, right? There is no way that I'm an engineer, I'm building an application, and I need to wait for a central team to approve my application, to scan my application, to tell me how I can ship it. It just doesn't work. It's a scale issue. The ratio is like, they say 1 to 100, right? Now with AI, it's now maybe 1 to 1,000. There is just simply no way for a current way to do security to scale. You have to change. And you have to be like cloud. So cloud is about agility and self-service. So security needs to adopt and also become somehow more cloudy. Has to be more agile, more self-service. And that was the core of the mission of Wiz. How do we make security more agile and self-service?
Right. So how does the potential combination with Google accretive to that overall vision?
So Google can dramatically, like we do security, we need threat intelligence, the ability to know about the current threats. If you combine forces with threat intelligence tools, right, and feeds, that can dramatically improve what Wiz does. Obviously, also when we think about AI, right, we need to deliver security solutions for our customers using AI, right, and moving the speed of AI. Speed of AI is even faster than the speed of cloud, right? And Google can help us get ready for that and support our customers as they move to this crazy journey that moves faster than anything we've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about, our clients and sort of, they seem to go on kind of an evolution, right? So the great cloud service providers made it very easy to deploy assets, very easy to get VMs and containers, out in the wild, which as a security professional, that just means your attack surface is exploding, right? And so they've kind of gone through an evolution of getting their hands on what assets are out there. Okay, now what are my vulnerabilities, in that environment? And once they get all of the tooling necessary to get the visibility, then all of a sudden they're overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
With massive amounts of telemetry. So I find a lot of clients are still kind of stuck in that reactive mode where they just have an overload. From your perspective, what's sort of the first steps that clients, customers should take to get more proactive?
So I think, you're touching one of the key problems, right? We're talking about scale problems, right? We're saying that there's not enough security people. There's no way they're going to respond in time. And the more tools you add, the more tasks you get. So it's like security feels like an endless task. It's like, it's endless. And you keep just feeling that you're not in the pace of what's happening. And it's getting worse now.
Right.
Right? Because it's like you get technology moves even faster. So if I wasn't able to cope with the speed until now, how am I like, I think what we all need to understand is that the role of security is almost impossible. That's true. Like impossible, because how can you, they have a new technology now every day, right? How are you supposed to make sure that everything is secure in your environment? You don't, just to read about all of the new stuff coming, right? But you're already supposed to know about it and know who's using it and know how to secure it. It feels like the task of security is getting harder and harder, even to the point where it's almost impossible. How am I supposed to move as fast as cloud and AI, right? That's the question we should all ask ourselves, because right now I feel it's almost impossible, right? Now, how can we tackle it? I think from the way we see it, and I think, again, I'd love also your perspective as someone that actually works with customers and have seen the evolution, right? What we said is, okay, let's admit this task is impossible, okay? The task of being able to chase everything that happens in the company, there's just no way any security team in the world can move as fast as possible. So what can we do about it? The way we approach it in Wiz, interesting to compare. It's two things. One, let's build a tool that functions like an attacker, right? That understands the environment. Again, I'm not saying try to find everything and solve everything. I'm not trying to, because it's impossible. Let's try to think like an attacker, think what would be easiest for the attacker to actually attack, and fix only that. Because in reality, in an environment, usually, unless it's really bad, it's even if it's a big environment, actual known attack paths are limited. There is a few of them, right? If we can show you those, it's very similar to pen testing, right? Honestly, the best way to do security is you have constant pen testing. You know exactly where the attacker is going to come from. That's exactly what you fix. You don't fix the other stuff, right? So there's two approaches here. One is to build something that is as good as a pen test all the time across everything, right? That reduces the burden of the noise.
Right.
Because you can focus on something that is actually validated, and that's scales of magnitude less than the entire, general noise. And when you do that, you also change the perception of this, the chase, right? The endless chase.
Yeah.
It's not an endless chase anymore,
right,
because you focus on just real attacks. And by the way, once you start doing that, you also don't feel the burden of, another security tool, another scale, I don't want more tasks. No, actually, if you do it right, think about a pen test. If you have more capabilities, usually what it does, it actually helps you reduce the number of things you have to do. Why? Because now in Wiz we added external scanning. You actually reduce the number of things you have to do, because now you can validate, this is not really exposed, so we don't have to fix it. So focusing on real potential attacks, which changes, I think, dramatically even psychology of chasing, right? Yeah. And then once you get that, you start moving away from this endless chase to a place where you say, okay, this is achievable, I can do it. And once you're there, the complementary capability is to actually move from a state where you own everything to a state where you say, I give you the reports, you built it, you fix it, right? and then you're ready for scale, right? Because if you're not the one that is supposed to chase everyone, what you have to do is you ensure you have the pen test, right?
Yeah.
You have the results, and the people that build the applications understand this is together, yes. It's just, like it's a shared responsibility, but really, like as security team, we have no way to make sure everything. You actually have to own it. We can help you, but you own it. By the way, I think that's the closest thing we have today that actually works. It's not in security, it's in finance.
Right.
Because in finance, it's like, right, like if you build a database, and we had this in our team, like suppose someone builds a database that is accidentally costs $5,000 a day, right? Do they say, I don't care, it's the finance team fault? Or do they say, my God, I have to pay it from my budget, right? They know they have to pay it, right? Because they did it. In security, it's not always the case. People say, I don't care about security, it's like a security team. No, it's not. You have a budget, and you own it, and if you make a mistake, you have to fix it, and it's coming from your budget, right? That this is like, it's a different approach that we have to push for.
Sure.
And once we have that, we are ready for scale, because then we're not the ones that have to chase.
And that's really the concept of security democratization that
Yes.
you guys proselytize. And I guess with the authority that those teams are getting to solve their own problems comes the responsibility of.
Exactly. So I wonder, how do you see it? Like, because this is a bit of a different kind of approach. Also complicated for you, because it means not only working with the security team, it's sort of educational, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how do you see it from, sort of a trusted partner to go to the customer and try to change dynamics?
Yeah, well, exactly that. I mean, the concept of security democratization. I guess we had it a little bit with DevSecOps, right? Where
Yes.
we gave developers, we empowered them to say, hey, you own the security vulnerabilities within your own
Yes.
code, and you take responsibility for it. It is a mindset shift for a lot of solution owners and product owners. There's sort of the core, change management aspects where you need people to understand new roles, and they need training and so forth. And I know, I would say tools, aren't the whole story, but tools are important. The usability, like Wiz, is important, because if you're gonna give that responsibility to that product team, you can't, right? There's a reason why they don't all have access to all the endpoint detection tools and all the other tools that we have, right? Because they couldn't make sense of what they were looking at, right? So you do need a tool that can present those delegated actors with enough information that they can actually act on it. And I think that that's critical, and it feels like we're at an inflection point right now where that can happen.
Yeah. I think so. You're the way I see it is that the tool is part of it, and the other part is really it's a culture change, right?
Yeah.
It's a culture change that it's really about making sure everyone in the company understand.
Yeah.
We are working together. We have no way to win this unless we understand that you have to own it. And I think that's exactly where the areas were, working with a partner, right, as a customer, because sometimes a partner that comes or Wiz that comes to the company that says this is the way to work in cloud, it's easier than for the security team, because sometimes people want to hear it from a trusted external source.
And I see two different reactions. There's sort of the old guard, which is very happy with the scenario you described, where it's like, hey, security issue, security team's problem. I don't care. And so they're a little bit resistant to taking on that new responsibility, because they appreciate it's going to require them to change the way they do things. But oftentimes, those solution teams, they always see the security team as a hurdle, as a blocker to getting done. So those teams that really want to move, you tell them, hey, I'm going to empower you to get these things out of your own way and move on. That conversation goes pretty quick.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
No. So Wiz has Wiz Code, Wiz Cloud, and now Wiz Defend. Great tool sets. But there's a bit more, right? Wiz has a significant R&D arm, right? That's out there finding emerging risks. Can you talk about the benefits to your customers for that?
So in terms of actual proactive vulnerability kind of approach. I think if you think about what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to be the pen tester of the world that finds the real attacks. But how do we know about the real attacks, right? Suppose people talk about like AI, right? How do you know how attacks in AI look like? There's not a lot of actual attacks right now, right? So the way we approach things is always from the attacker perspective. And the way to understand the attacker perspective is to be an attacker. So to investigate attackers and also to actually try to find real vulnerabilities in real systems, try to break them. So, and basically that's what we try to do. We try to break systems and then figure out what can we learn about that as an industry. And we've done it like in risks in cloud services, in AI services, and that's the approach of the vulnerability research team. Find attacks that we need to talk about as an industry, and then use that to prioritize also the things that we do in the product.
Right. Yeah, there's some, you guys have had some recent things that you've done that have been, I think, helpful to the industry overall, for sure.
Yeah, it's all about highlighting, it can be AI security risks, it can be even Kubernetes, right? The complexity of Kubernetes. Right. It's always amazing. There is everything is built on layers of technology, but you get into the complexity, you understand, oh my God, like actually there's not a lot of teams that understand how complicated everything we deploy is actually, behind the covers. And vulnerabilities and attacks come from complexity. That's exactly like we try to simplify everything, right? Because complexity creates vulnerabilities. So that's always the case.
Yeah. I've read a lot of the things that you've written about. One of the themes that comes up a lot is deep visibility. Can you kind of talk about how that works in practice?
So, first of all, the basic principle is that you can't secure what you don't know about, right? And it's the basic concept, right? Like if we talk about AI, for example, right. We don't even know how attacks in AI looks like, but we do know that if someone is using AI, I want to know about the security thing, right? I don't want to be the last one that knows about it. I prefer to know about it in advance. But just let's understand the current position of security teams. They go to RSA, okay? It's just 1 week. They come back, everything changed, right? New applications running, architecture changed, and they didn't know they were in RSA, right? So visibility is about actually knowing what is actually running right now, without the need to depend on a developer that comes to me and shows me a slide deck, okay? Even if they remember to come to me and show me the slide deck, who says the slide deck is actually true, right? And even if it's true, maybe it changed, So we can't continue to rely on classic approaches where everything is static, so deep visibility means I want to know about everything I have across my environment in a way that is dynamic, that actually shows me the real attack surface and not just the slide didn't have this database, so I didn't know about it, right? So that doesn't matter. So that's that. It's all about, again, if I think about attack surface, I need to know exactly what's exposed. I need to know exactly what's running. I need to know where the secrets are. I need to understand permissions. I need to know all of that without dependence on someone telling me, right? And again, I know it sounds trivial, right? But it's not. Honestly, security team sits here and the developers just run and do whatever they want. And how am I supposed to know what's going on? It's a basic question. And the answer is that it's really hard. It's a really hard problem to track, to even understand what people are doing in the cloud. Because of speed, it's very hard to know.
Yeah. And I guess talk about the implication of the runtime scanner for that.
So it's, one of the big things that we've done in Wiz is having ability to analyze everything agentless, right? Why was it such a dramatic change? Because I don't depend on anyone. I can just enable it and it just works across everything, gives me visibility to everything. I don't have any coverage gaps. Coverage gaps are always the place where the attacker will come from, right? Now, why would I want to go into the runtime? If you want to have in some of the areas of the environment, full protection, threat detection, memory level analysis. Of course, you have to go to runtime. So the way I see it, runtime complements the basic layer. Basic layer is the deep visibility.
Right.
I want to see everything all the time, right? But on top of that, wherever I want to be able to analyze every process code, every stack, every memory, everything loaded to memory to the level because it's more sensitive. That's where I want to have runtime protection as well. And together they function really nicely.
Yeah. Yeah, it really seemed, I mean, as I was getting introduced to Wiz, it really, that, API-based scanning and the security graph did seem like the secret sauce or the real differentiator in my mind, kind of breaking down silos in the organization.
Yes, exactly. So it's about, first of all, seeing the visibility across everything, right? Once you see that, then we want to be able to democratize and actually people fix their own problems. Next level is starting to go into areas like runtime. But as someone that has a lot of experience in the market, threat detection, that can be a whole different organization, right? That's a whole. So it's not like everything will happen in one time in a company. First of all, we focus on deep visibility, finding the risks, democratizing. Then we can start speaking about, okay, let's also help using all of the data that we have for like threat detection, because they have the same challenges, but usually that's a whole separate team you have to start working with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, as we talked about, in the beginning with, all of the telemetry that's coming in, any tool can overwhelm, a security team. Can you kind of talk about the way that Wiz helps balance, the protection that it's providing along with the usability to making it useful for customers?
So I think the key is this: if it's not simple, it's not going to be used, right? If it's not simple, then developers won't do, like, everything breaks, right? Because then it's not self-service, then they don't trust the signal. It all goes back to the classic area where you have central team and you have to chase everyone because no one trusts anyone, and then you have to say, no, if you don't do it, then we lose compliance. So it's just the wrong way. So it's very simple. Like, it has to be simple. Whatever is not simple doesn't work, right? So also in Wiz, like, we can add more capabilities, but as long as it remains simple and focused, it's okay. It's because then, like, we can add a data scanner to scan for sensitive data, but only if it fits into the flow where it integrates into everything to show you, oh, this is important to fix because it has access to sensitive data, right? Once it becomes too complex, it can work for the large organizations that have a lot of dedicated teams. For the large majority of teams, it just doesn't work because they will not have the capacity. Right? Now, I mean, I think from your perspective, like, do you see a difference between the large financials, they have like a lot of those siloed teams, to let's say the other companies where we can actually speak about what we call the reunified risk, right? Do you see like this difference between the unified risk discussion or the siloed, I don't care, I own this area, so I just look at this piece?
Yeah, I would definitely say that our clients that are in more regulated industries spend a larger portion of their time focused on making sure that they're adhering to their regulatory regimes, right?
Yeah.
So kind of depending on where they are in that journey, obviously that's min bar for them.
Right.
So if they haven't met that entirely and they're, and they've got MRAs or they've got other things that they're dealing with, they're going to focus 100% on that. Other organizations that are maybe a little bit farther along or have a little bit less onerous regulatory environment, they can move beyond the predefined checklist to say, hey, let me think about the risks specific to my environment and get more, kind of as you were saying, getting more proactive and start thinking about what's unique in their situation.
Yeah, I think that's part of the challenge, is that sometimes due to regulation, right, and governance, you actually focus on like the KPIs of number of vulnerabilities, and instead of actually doing what is more important from a risk perspective, right? And it's a bit counterintuitive, but sometimes the more regulated environments are, in my view, less secure, because focusing on making sure you have no vulnerabilities actually doesn't mean you have no vulnerabilities. Because, I mean, not all of attacks are vulnerabilities, right? So maybe you forgot the default credentials on your database, but that's not a vulnerability, so you wouldn't focus on it. So in my view, what's important is to balance, right? And make sure that, remember, actual risk that you have in the environment right now is actually more important than anything else, right? even more than the compliance reporting.
Wow.
And actually looking at risk unified risk is more important, but this is, again, it's a cultural change also in the security organization, right? Do you sometimes feel this kind of, like tension?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So knowing that through all the various things that you've done, you've really been at the vanguard of cloud security. So kind of looking ahead, interested in your thoughts and sort of what you see with cloud security in the next 3 to 5 years, and what role Wiz you play in that.
That's a good question. I think it's impossible to know. To be honest, like everything moves so fast. It's just
well, you've done better than most of the market in knowing where it's going. So
the speed. I'm very proud of the speed of Wiz. Right, we've been able to move faster than I imagined. Like we started from scanning of cloud, we moved to external scanning, we had the data scanning, we now scan code. So we're moving very fast, but still, I'm looking shocked at the fast of the world right now, right? When we talk about cloud and AI is together, right? Like most of the AI stuff running cloud, right? And we need to move now, not just in the speed of cloud, in the speed of AI. And I don't know how you do that. It's crazy. So trying to say what was going to be in 5 or 10 years, I don't know exactly how RSA is going to look like in 5 or 10 years, right? Like maybe it's going to be like a lot of AI agents doing the talks for us. I don't know.
Sure.
So, I mean, we are committed to move as fast as possible, right? So I have ideas, I have thoughts, but honestly, we listen to customers and we move in the speed of technology. So what we are committed to as Wiz is to always focus on attacks, right? Be very focused on attacks, on threats, understand the entire pipeline of the environment, cover all of the technologies you have, right? So as everything will go crazy fast, we'll try to go crazy fast, right? Yeah. I can say that I think our key approach, the way we approach security, is very suitable for AI or for the speed that we have now, because we believe in self-service, right? And I think everyone will understand soon that there's no other way.
Yeah.
It's just so in that sense, I think we're well positioned, right? But I have no clue how it's going to look like. I think that the theme right now is speed, speed, right? No one wants to slow down the engineering, right? So it's speed and trying not to take too many risks as you run so fast.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for us, right, so I mentioned, co-founded the cloud managed service business, and I basically lead the cyber portion of that. And, we've had a host of cloud security tools that we've used for that service offering for a long time. We've only just recently started leveraging Wiz in that context, just within the last 6 months. And already, right, our engineering teams are seeing the ability to get context from Wiz is allowing us to apply AI in terms of our workflows and being able to help the analysts very quickly understand what the impact of a particular remediation might be across the environment. So it's only going to pick up speed for us. We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I think it's all about, eventually we can talk about AI, but it's all about data, right? So we are trying to build the data map, the map of everything, how it's connected, so that can be a great asset for to use. Oh, I see this vulnerability. Okay, where did it come from? Wait, like, oh, that's the origin. Who's pushing the code? Okay, what's the repository? Can we push the code there, right? So all of that, the underlying, what you need is the data fabric of how is everything built in your environment. And that's exactly what Wiz tries to build for the company. But again, trying to see what's going to happen in a few years, I think no one can really actually say that, because it just, everything now is accelerated.
I was hoping for some useful global or crystal ball predictions, but all right. Well, with that, thank you, Ami.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.